Thank you to the Labyrinth Maker, Robert Nielsen, Louis Borges Gomide, Vikram Sundaraman, Jordan Stein, Fishy Cuber, and probably others for requesting this episode. Welcome to Conlang Critic, the show that gets facts wrong about your favorite conlang. I'm Jan Misali, and in this episode we'll be looking at Esperanto 2, Edo. You know what, let's just jump right into it this time. Check it out. Edo is an IAL that was created in 1907 by the Delegation for the Adoption of an International Auxiliary Language. It was based on another language called Esperanto, which I'm just going to assume you already know about. If you don't know what Esperanto is, please tell me how you found this video and why you're watching it. That information will be very useful for my marketing department. Anyway, Edo was designed to be Esperanto, but good. Fortunately for my purposes, I very recently compiled a list of problems I had with Esperanto, so it shouldn't be that hard to see whether or not Edo succeeds. Edo's consonants are m, n, b, d, g, p, t, k, t, ch, v, z, j, f, z, sh, h, w, l, y, r. This inventory is Esperanto, but without h or j, and the rhotic is a flap instead of a trill, which is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Like, it's cool how 2 of the least common distinctions are gone, but the distinctions between t and ch and between z and j are still there. Also, cross-linguistically, the alveolar trill is slightly more common than the alveolar tap, so that change was completely unneeded. Edo's vowels are e, u, e, o, a. I am out of things to say about the 5 vowel system. I've said all of them, and now there's just going to be this short segment pretty much every time I talk about an interlang where I point out that I don't have anything to say about the 5 vowel system. Maybe I should come up with like a catchphrase for this segment or something? Hey everyone, it's our old friend, the 5 vowel system. No, that's dumb. Whatever, I still have time to workshop it. Anyway, diphthongs. Ow, ew. What are you even doing, Edo? I mean, cutting down Esperanto's diphthongs makes sense and all, but why drop I and keep ew? Ew isn't super common, but nearly every language with diphthongs has I. So in the last episode, I went through the 26 most commonly spoken languages and pointed out that all of them are at least somewhat incompatible with Esperanto. I did make a few mistakes here and there, like how I said Hindi and Urdu don't have ch, so oops, they don't have ts though, so my point still stands. Anyway, the most common language that's compatible with Edo's phonology is Italian, which is the 18th most commonly spoken language. That's an improvement over Esperanto, but it's still pretty bad. If Edo didn't have eu, then it would be compatible with German, the 17th most commonly spoken language. And if it also didn't have ts, it would be compatible with English, the 2nd most commonly spoken language. Edo's orthography isn't great. It's a lot like Esperanto's orthography, except there aren't any diacritical marks and there's digraphs. The sounds that G circumflex and H circumflex represent in Esperanto were removed, so they were dropped entirely. C circumflex became CH, S circumflex became SH, U breve became W because obviously, J circumflex became just J, and J became Y. And it would have been fine and dandy if Edo had stopped there. I would have complained about the use of digraphs for a couple of seconds and then moved on. Yet, for some reason, Edo decided to add the letters Q and X. I mean, I get why. It's so that words from Romance languages can still be spelled the same way. It's naturalistic, but sometimes all naturalism does is make things more difficult. Everything I said is bad about Esperanto's grammar is absent from Edo. The accusative case is indicated through word order, but it can be marked if you want to, and adjectives don't need to agree with the nouns they modify. That's all I have to say about it, really. Everything else I could say also applies to Esperanto, like how the definite article doesn't really need to exist, or how the prepositions are somewhat confusing. The vocabulary is a marginal improvement over Esperanto, but most of the changes don't really accomplish anything. It's still extremely Eurocentric, arguably even more so, and country names are just as likely to differ from their native form. The prefix mal is gone, which on one hand is less confusing to speakers of Romance languages, but on the other hand makes learning the vocabulary take slightly more time. The reasons Edo's vocabulary is a net gain are twofold. Firstly, there's actually some restrictions to what sequences of sounds are allowed, like sci is replaced with savar. Secondly, the sexism is gone. I'll explain how in a little bit, but first, we need to clear something up, because every time I post a video where I mention sexism, I get the same comments over and over. Leave your politics out of this and just rate the language. Well, for you, Zaki. Hear me out. The way Esperanto handles gender works as though women are a type of man. This is a naturalistic thing to do, but that's because natural languages are the products of the cultures they come from, and cultures tend to not stop being sexist until a while after they've already figured out a way to speak. However, with a constructed language, you can avoid this from the get-go, and carefully design a system where talking about women works the same as talking about men. This is what Edo does. Most words for people have no gender associated with them, and there's a pair of optional suffixes to specify either of the binary genders, which happen to be the same as the gendered pronouns. Speaking of pronouns, Edo also has a gender-neutral third-person pronoun, which can be used in any of the myriad of situations where you may want to talk about someone without assigning them a binary gender, so that's cool. But then there's also a formal intimate distinction, like the singular second-person pronoun is different depending on how well you know the person you're talking to. That's kinda unintuitive. I know, I'm an English speaker, so it probably sounds like I'm just complaining about something my native language doesn't do being confusing, but hey, guess what? My idiolective written English does in fact have a formal intimate distinction, so yeah, I'm being totally unbiased here. All in all, I think that Edo introduces almost as many problems as it fixes, resulting in a language that's nearly as flawed as Esperanto, just in a different set of ways. Regardless, I'd say that I like Edo a little bit more than I like Esperanto, but not as much as I like Tokikona, making it the second best interlang reviewed so far. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, where I'll be reviewing VOLAPÜK.